Morning, it's Yvonne here to do your What's Cracking reading. We're going to use the Morgan Greer Tarot. Apologies yesterday because I'm pretty sure I was using the Radiant White Tarot. I have both my tarot decks on the table, but I think I called it the Morgan Greer. So if you saw it yesterday, I was using the Radiant White, not the Morgan Greer. Today I'm using the Morgan Greer. Complex way to start off the reading. Okay, firstly, thank you to all you beautiful people for your support and your amazing comments. I do read comments every day. I check for scammers every day. I try to be really vigilant with my followers because I know how people have got duped by scammers before. I can't fix them, I can't stop them from doing anything, but I certainly feel I can get as many off my page as I can and block them. But the responsibility sort of falls to you a little bit. Don't get taken in by people who are scamming on my page. I don't mind what they do. I don't have an issue if they want to cast spells, do readings, whatever else, but don't do them on my page, because when you do, you give people bad readings, and they then give me bad reviews because they think it's me. That's my problem there. So I do try to remove as many as I can, but it's your responsibility to trust you know what you're doing. If people are scamming you, I'm getting phone calls from people now, which I think is absolutely hideous. So um, please, please, please be careful. If you're unsure, you can email me at theaussiegoddess@gmail.com and double check. But I'm telling you now, I don't offer readings or push you for readings without your permission. So you need me, you email me. All right, for the members, thank you so much, people who've joined up for memberships. I'll be doing an additional reading for you today. That will be for all members. For those of you who have purchased a deluxe membership and are learning to do the tarot, we have now finished all of the cards individually. So I want to start getting into some more meaningful stuff. Please, if you wouldn't mind, sending me an email at theaussiegoddess@gmail.com and offering me your email address and where you live so I can start scheduling some classes. But please let me know. I don't know how to do them on YouTube yet and just restrict to membership, but I'm going to have a look at that over the next week. I'm up mostly on my assignments now for university, so hopefully by next week things will be getting a little lighter. However, I am on holidays between the 16th and the 23rd of October. My partner and I are taking his daughter on holidays. So if you need a personal reading, it will need to be before that date or scheduled for after that date. So let's go. And thank you to those who've been to me for personal readings, for those of you who return to me for personal readings, for those of you who are having life coaching sessions with me. Thank you all, because my work is what I see as the most valuable thing I can do. So please accept my thanks for that beautiful contribution that you're making. And I understand, and I get so much gratitude for what I do, but I want to show you that I am actually extremely grateful for where you're at too. And sometimes I do sessions and I think when people are so generous and grateful for where they're at, I think I don't know how to say thank you back. It's just not enough. So I'm very grateful that I get to do the work I do. All right, on with this reading. I think I've covered everything. We're doing an Aquarius reading after this one, and I'm going to do a one-off reading for the members after this and learn how to upload it. All right, we're into it. Let's see where we're at. Feel like there is a lot of, yeah, we've got the Hermit card. I feel like there's a lot of energy in the universe at the moment of people really understanding how their cycles affect them. It has come through really strongly in readings around at the moment, where people are recognizing what is a cycle, what is a pattern I'm going through, where people are really seeing it. So I want to say the most important thing you can do in this life is learn to be the observer in your own life. That means being able to hear what you say without just speaking and forgetting. We all do it. I feel like I could align this with when you're driving in the car and you're driving to the shops, and you get to the shops, you get out of your car and you cannot remember driving there because it's all second nature. You just get on your way. Sometimes I do things and I get to a certain point and I think I can't even remember what I did in the last half an hour because I'm in my head. I'm thinking. So I'm not really watching what I'm doing. So I bring myself down to earth. I ground myself and I really become very conscious of where I am. Eckhart Tolle, Reading the Power of Now was a really good book for me to understand how to live in the moment. But old habits, we creep, we get overwhelmed with thoughts, and we tend to sort of dip into that. I don't do it near as much as I used to. I try really hard to be present in every moment, but occasionally things are on my mind and I forget. When you're conscious, you hear what you're saying. You really relate to the conversation, so you're aware. Your awareness is really hyped, and I think that we need to be as much as we can in that energy because we see things more clearly. We see our cycles, we see our patterns so much more easily. I know that sometimes it's got to several patterns before I've gone, hang on a moment, I'm doing that again. I need to stop doing that. Like putting up with people that you don't want to really put up with. Understanding how to protect your energy, understanding that some people really drain everything you've got out of you and you can be exhausted after spending time with them. And I feel like there are more people coming to me understanding those patterns, but also asking questions about other things that they don't really understand. And I think that's really important. Why do we allow certain things to occur over and over again before we become aware of why they are happening to us? And I feel like that's happening for a lot of people at the moment. So let's just skim through, because I do have the Hermit card coming out. The Hermit is the card of Virgo, so you could be dealing with a Virgo here, or you could be a Virgo, even more importantly. When we see the Hermit card, it says to us, we need to take time out. We need to make our own decisions. We need to decide the direction we're going, but we need to take a rest from something. And I feel like with the Hermit card, more than anything, he has the star in his or her, whatever, light, lantern. And that means we need to follow our own path. We need to understand where our path's taking us. So that also means with that star, we have to see what's blocking us. We have to see what's holding us back. And sometimes we need to take time out to do that. So a lot of us have to go through healing and around and healing and around to really understand the direction we're meant to go in. I love that you've got the strength here, because I feel like for some of you, this is shadow work. If you want to get into Carl Jung, he was the first person to really understand our shadow or talk about it, and our understanding of there are certain components of who we are at a deep level that don't always shine through. So we may not see them. We may have subconsciously tucked them away because we had shame and guilt around them, but we are not whole and complete because there are certain aspects of ourselves that we're not showing to the world. I can see a lot of these as I go through life. A lot of things that I felt ashamed at, the simple things. So when I was a kid, I wrote incredibly beautifully. I always, as a very young child, these are the things that do stand out in my mind, even though I've got a lot of blocked memories. I remember being at school and being told so many times that I had beautiful writing. But then I went to a teacher who said to me that my writing was too small and that I shouldn't write so small. And because I was so people pleasing, I started to write big because I felt like writing small was something I needed to be ashamed of. So my writing became very large and still is quite big. When it was small, it was so neat and tidy. I had a couple of things years ago that I remember looking at and thinking my writing was just perfect and small. But then I became ashamed of that because what this teacher said to me, and I started to write big all the time. I know that's a really simple thing, but it goes to show as a child how easily influenced you are when somebody tells you off. And if you've been in a home where you have been slammed all the time by people, then what will start to happen is you start to respond to everybody's requests. You want to please everybody. You want to keep everybody happy. And of course, that was something I remember very, very clearly and has stayed with me. That then gets pushed into my shadow, and everything gets congregated with that in my shadow. So that's a shame for me. I was obviously very ashamed that I'd upset the teacher and tried to change the way I was to please the teacher. But then I'm not being true to who I am, because I should have said as a child even, well, that's the way I write. Um, but that's people's control can sometimes hurt you if you're a more gentle natured person or child, as I was very gentle natured. But was I meant to be gentle natured? I know that every time I spoke up for myself, I got backhanded or, yelled at or whatever. So in the end, I remember never speaking up for myself, because that was punishment. It was something to be ashamed of. Do you understand how we can become ashamed and guilty and hide ourselves away, or hide aspects of ourselves away, because we think that other people don't like them about us? So we become very accustomed to keeping ourselves under wraps. Let's get on with it. So I feel there's shadow work to be done. There's a brand new beginning coming here, and I feel like there's a lot of opportunities once this change is made. But sometimes when we've got the devil card, all right, and we are moving forward with fear. Okay, brand new beginning. You've got two aces there. To me, this is like you have an opportunity for new beginnings, but because of your fear of something from the past, or something that you've cycled or grown up with or been ashamed of, you are no longer exhibiting that particular thing. Now, I hear people say to me all the time, I was told I was too sensitive, so I stopped being sensitive. I was told I was too loud, so I quietened myself down. I was told that I was too outspoken, so I stopped being outspoken. Those are the things that I hear all the time from people when I'm coaching. This is the type of person I became because of my upbringing. So I want to say to you, if something is going to be shown to you now, it's very evident in the card that something is going to be shown to you. Remember to be the observer, to see it for yourself, and understand that you do not have to hide away from anybody. You do not need to do that. You do not need to taper behavior because somebody else is uncomfortable with it. You do not need to change something because somebody has told you that they don't like that. I heard of somebody not so long ago. So, it's that whole story of, I want to be an astronaut. You're not good enough to be an astronaut. Right, then I won't be an astronaut, which is really damaging to anybody. You can be realistic, absolutely, but you can be realistic without making your own judgments. Let's get into this reading. I've been yabbering on too much today. Five of Swords, something you're being asked to leave behind or move away from. You are being asked to stand in your own space here, absolutely. There is a brand new beginning coming here. King of Cups coming through with the Nine of Wands. Okay, Two of Cups coming through. This is something to do with a romantic relationship. We have the Lovers card here and the Two of Cups, and some sort of offer coming through here. All right, Page of Swords, Three of Cups, Four of Swords. Okay, I'm going to bring another card. I've got the King of Swords coming out here. You definitely need to match someone's energy here and to let go of something that you've learned to do. Okay, this is probably another good indication of how we hide ourselves away. I say to people will write to me and get a reading, and they will say to me, I want to know, I've been dating my guy for, 6 months, 12 months. And we've never talked about commitment or marriage. And I want to know if he's going to commit to me or she's going to commit to me, or if we're going to have a relationship, or whether we're going to get married. And I say to people, have you spoken to them about this? Have you asked? Because these are questions you should have been having right at the beginning of your relationship. You should have been saying to someone, are you on the same page as me? I want marriage and commitment. If you're only after, a flimsy relationship, that's great, but not for me. But do you know how many people say, well, I can't ask them that? You've been in a relationship with them for 12 months and you still can't ask them how they see you as a person. Are you going to commit to me? Because to me, that is really, really something you have been told to be ashamed of. Somebody at some stage in your life has said you can't do that, and you haven't, and you don't. So to me here, there is something, this doesn't feel like a romantic sort of situation. It feels like it's overarching all of your romantic situations. Are you getting involved in relationships where you're dealing with toxic people all the time and you can't shake that cycle? Are you dealing with people here who appear to use you for your money or whatever else? They're emotionally cold, unable to love you. Are you repeating that pattern? Is it something you need to be aware of? The emotionally cold thing comes up a lot for me. A lot of people are very damaged by their upbringings and don't know how to show love, give love, or whatever else, and they become very difficult for you to deal with because they don't understand where you are coming from. Have these conversations with people right at the beginning of a relationship. Don't give me the, oh, I can't say that to them. How can you be in a relationship with somebody for such a long time and still not know who they are? Dig a little deeper. It's okay to say to someone, this is who I am, where are you? That doesn't mean you share a lot of personal boundaries. That's a very different thing. You don't have to tell a person everything. But I think it's okay to ask about how the relationship is and what sort of things people believe in their relationship. And we've talked about this before. You know, you can't, if somebody says, I don't want a relationship, then move on if it's a relationship you want. Don't feel so desperate you've got to be with that person, even if their ideas are very different to your own. Oh, that doesn't mean you can't have things not in common. I think that's great too. But I think it's about you understanding there is something plugged into you at a very deep level that is causing you to avoid conversations that you need to have. If this isn't romantic for you, be the observer. Watch how you do things. Watch how you learn things. Watch how you speak and how much you avoid saying for fear of being, you know, not spoken to, or, you know, not being regarded. Like, do what you need to do. You don't walk around like a pussycat, always avoiding every situation. All right. I feel like you're doing some healing here, especially with this card behind. Could be in regards to a Leo or a Virgo. There is a brand new beginning being offered and a lot of opportunity, but in order to accept this, you've got to change. I feel like when I see this sword, there's a little bit of blood on the sword here, and it's like maybe you need to be really quite brutal in those conversations. I'm not saying you've got to hurt anybody, absolutely not. But I'm feeling here that maybe you need to be a bit more brutal because something here is being told to you in your shadow, and it's stopping you from moving forward and having new beginnings because you're avoiding conversations that need to be had. Those brutal conversations. You don't want to upset somebody. You don't want to, you know, hurt someone's feelings, whatever it is. It's hurting you. And I hear that a lot. Oh, I can't do that. I might hurt him. Well, what are you dealing with? Well, what is going on for you? Are you being hurt by this? Oh, yeah, I get hurt by it all the time. Why are you worried about hurting his feeling? Why are you worried about speaking up to her because she's doing what she's doing? Maybe it's time that you start to understand it's really about you expressing yourself. All right, I have blurbed on for way too long today. Let's have a quick look at an oracle card. I just feel like a lot of people are closing out cycles, and I feel like a lot of you are probably much older and you've lived like this for such a long time, and now you're realizing you've been doing it for years without actually addressing it. Speak up for yourself. Deep replenishment. Ooh! Retreat, rest, be held. Wow. Okay. So this is definitely about that Hermit card, 64. The most selfless thing you can do is to fill up your own inner well. The most selfless thing you can do is fill up your inner well. We are all running around half filled. We subconsciously look to things and people around us to give us the nourishment and nurturing that we so deeply need. Nothing can grow in barren lands. You are no good to anyone if you're running on empty. Oh boy, gee, I can't even. The feminine is bountiful, fertile, and rich. Tend to your own well and watch the amount you have to give multiples. Tend to your own well and watch as the amount you have to give multiplies. If your inner well isn't full, you will find yourself craving things from the outside world to fill it. I say this all the time, trying to fill that hole inside you, which you're supposed to fill with self-love. This is our body's instinctive way of reaching for the grounding and nurturing that we are not allowing ourselves. What nourishes you? What refuels your body? What nectar is for your soul? What brings you back to life? What is your secret medicine? What makes you feel abundant and fertile? Overspilling with life. So what nourishes you is your medicine. So I feel like here this is about you understanding that you deserve it as much as the next person. And if you're putting up with things you shouldn't, then watch those cycles. Watch how you treat people. Watch how people treat you. Really important. So a lot of this sort of going on in the universe at the moment where people are starting to understand how they've been doing things at their own disadvantage. I'll leave you with that. Way too much talking. Have a great day.